morning. I'm honored to be having a topic which will be unpacked by two financial gurus, some authority in the country when we come to matters, finances, and we'll be talking about building harmony around finances in a relationship. So if you want to be part of this conversation, join us on 20316 SMS line, and 0786 316 316 is our WhatsApp line. And I have two amazing gentlemen with me in studio this morning. My name is Sally Limo. Karibuni sana.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have George and Chris in studio, and I'll start with you, Chris. Just introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you so much, Sally, for inviting me to this show. My name is Christopher Nyalwal. I'm a personal financial coach. I have a company called Craft Your Future Today, and we are very passionate about enabling people or empowering people to be the best that they can be.
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, George?
Sally, thanks a lot for reaching out and for inviting me here as well. It's a pleasure to come and join you in these meaningful conversations. Yeah, so Jojo Yuga is my name.
Yeah.
I work with Kuza Asset Management as a Director Retirement Solutions.
Okay.
Yeah, but the other things I do, I'm a financial therapist and an author of Dance with My Money book.
Interesting. Yes, financial therapist.
Financial therapist.
Okay. Karibu sana. And let's get into the conversation as you guys help us unpack this. I know it's about relationships and you people speak to, even couples. So, Chris, what is the importance of, that compatibility, financial compatibility in relationships for couples?
I think it's well known that, money is one of the top 3 things that cause divorces and breakups in relationships. So financial compatibility is underlined critical. So it's about people being in alignment in terms of their goals as a couple, their values in terms of, what do they prioritize, what do they think is important.
Yeah.
When it comes to their money behaviors, are you a saver or spender? And how can we work together in making it work? So I think it's really important that people have these open discussions about money.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be something that we only discuss when we have bills to pay on the table.
Right.
It should be something that's openly discussed throughout the year to make it like an easy conversation and to make the compatibility actually possible. Yeah.
Easy conversation. I love that. George, I don't know what you have to say about the same in terms of compatibility on matters finances to the couple.
Let me borrow from what Chris has said and describe marriage as a journey. It's a journey that now 2 people are in the process of fusing to become one. And that already excludes it from being an event. So if it is a journey, there will be certain bus stops, there'll be certain milestones to be covered. And that's important that these 2 people sync together and are able to then manage what I call their money dance. And I borrow from a theory by one Sue Johnson, who describes emotional family therapy as a dance. How the 2 couples dance towards either the relationships they have around monies, how they dance on the dance floor of their earnings, how they dance on the dance floor of their savings patterns, how they also dance on the dance floor of their investment patterns, and also wealth creation and what they value here and there. So being a dance, then the journey needs to be handled in a good way.
Okay. Yeah. Chris, what are some of those things that probably as a couple you need to do together so that you just have that harmony, when it comes to your finances?
I believe that if you want to go fast, you walk alone. But if you want to go far, you walk together.
Right.
This comes in at the point of planning together, because as in the marriage, as Georgia said, it's a journey. So we need to plan, where do we want to be in X number of years?
Yeah.
What is our plan for our children? What is our plan for investing? What is our plan for retirement? It's important that we work at this together.
Okay.
There's this myth that men are good with money. And so women say, the man will handle the finances. I'll handle other things. And you'll find sometimes this brings some friction and at sometimes even resentment, especially when one person's needs are not being met or considered. You know, when you have clashing goals and priorities, then it brings friction. So people need to, the couple need to come together and say, okay, these are some of the things that would like for our family, for our future. So shared goals is really important. And then shared planning. Let's come together and do a budget together. Let's have this conversation of what are our priorities as a couple. I think that's really important if you are to have this harmony within a relationship. Otherwise, you might find yourselves, one person is heavy on even getting debt, and the other person is trying to save. So you don't want people going in different directions. You want to be aligned in terms of your approach. And
I think that then brings me to the next question to you, George, in terms of responsibilities. Because, you know, if two people are working and, you know, both earning, then there's a certain way you need to support each other. So how do you divide responsibilities in a very fair and balanced manner?
Okay. I know people approach this differently, but I have my personal view.
Okay.
I am not so much for the split of responsibilities. What I advocate for those I talk to, those who reach out to me, is to use what I call a pooled approach.
Okay.
Where both of us are contributing to a pool, then that pool then now manages our needs. So what that helps with is such that when there is one person's doors opened more, the entire pool benefits.
Right.
When one person, maybe things don't work out well, they get support from the pool.
They're cushioned,
because it takes two to tangle. And most of the time when you approach it from a split responsibility, apart from a pool, we struggle to get a balance because there is equality and there is equity. So those are two different approaches. And it is when there are cracks now down the journey that people now will start realizing some of these ugly and undiscussed areas, gray areas now coming up. There's someone who said that when people are happy, they enjoy the music. But when they are sad, they understand the lyrics. True. So these cracks will start coming later on when now some sadness creeps in. Maybe somebody's earning patterns are now changing. Maybe the business is now on the trough. Things are not working out. Then the lyrics start to play out. You know, but initially when everybody had money, it looks like, let's enjoy the music. But now when the rubber meets the road, then the lyrics come in, then you start having struggles. And then there are also others, because they don't resonate very, very well. You find that in this season, my things are not working. So what happens is that the spouse then goes like, no, that's your responsibility. You sort that out. Figure out how you'll tick that box. But these are seasons, and seasons are part of life. So whenever such things happen, it may be positive for me today, it may be negative tomorrow. If I'm in a pool, then that support structure becomes more strengthened. So for couples, I normally would advise that they adopt the pooled approach.
Okay, but I'm sure, you know, Chris, also being in that particular field, there are pros and cons of just pulling those finances together. I believe, you know, what are some of those pros and cons of doing that?
Pros and cons of the pooled approach?
Like is it like a joint account for people maybe who may not be getting it out?
All right. So I think one thing that, you know, I don't know whether to start with the pros or cons, but let me start with the pros.
Yes.
All right. The pooled approach makes it easier on both people to be aligned. All right. It removes the financial burden from one person and makes it a collective burden. All right? Let me put it this way. Say, for example, we have bills to pay. Many couples usually enter marriage and say, the man will handle the big bills, and I will handle the small bills. But as George mentioned, that we are in different seasons. What happens when there's, for example, the man's income reduces, and he still has that financial burden that he is the one to provide. He is walking around that burden, that stress that he has to provide. And, the wife is on the other side, also getting stressed because now the man is not doing his part. So it brings a lot of conflict. So the pooled approach enables it to be a shared burden, I would call it, and it makes it lighter on both, so that when I receive my income and my wife receives her income, we put it together and we decide, what is this going to do? It makes us even more focused in terms of how are we going to invest our money together. The more money we have, the faster we can achieve our targets, our goals that we are trying to achieve as a couple. The more we are inclined to work together in terms of making decisions. When you have your money in your account and I have my money in my account, I'm tempted to make decisions without consulting you. Because it's in my account. I know what balance I have, and sometimes if I have the luxury of earning more money than you, it means I have the luxury of doing more things than you. Like I can afford to do more things than you because you have less income, and then you tend to feel this is not fair. So in the pooled approach, it enables more fairness, and I think it really encourages joint decision making. Yes. Now the cons of it is, for example, when you have two clashing personalities. Sometimes you might find one person is a risk taker, and there are those people, when they see a deal, they want to strike while it's hot without considering all the consequences. And they go, and if you have a joint account where both of you don't have to sign, you might find money has gone into a deal, and you're at home thinking there's money. So money has withdrawn and it's being spent in something that you are not asked, you are not consulted, but this person acted. But of course, we always say, they didn't have any bad intentions. They were actually trying to see, can we grow this wealth, that kind of way. But it ends up not being a joint kind of decision. So maybe one person is a spender, likes to spend a lot, and they keep withdrawing and not. The other person is there thinking that they're financially secure. It also becomes a challenge. So it's important that in the pooled approach, you can actually merge it with the other approach, in the sense that you can have a joint account for our joint plans, our joint investment, our joint spending for the house upkeep. And then you can divide some money and say, this is for you, you can put in your account. This is for me, I can put in my account. So the money I have in my account and your account, you're free to spend. And the joint account is for our joint goals, and we spend it based on joint agreement on how we're going to spend it.
Because I'm also just thinking, George, like for example, like you said, people have different spending habits and relationship with money. So then probably I'm into very huge debts, and we're into this pooling finances together. Is it going to be unfair and a burden to my partner if I'm the one with the huge debts, a bad spender, and we're in that pool? So how do you manage even paying for such huge debts?
I think I like what Chris has said, and I also subscribe to the same. And this is in line with, I think it's 1 Timothy 5:18 that says, do not muzzle an ox in the threshing field. What that means is that while the ox is working, every laborer is worth the hire, meaning that in your budgeting pattern, the budgeting framework and the like, you need to include the aspect of we are also individuals, and I have some of my personal needs which may not actually be a priority to you, you see. So when these two people are allowed some freedom to say, I can exercise or be free with this portion of my allocation, then that is the portion that I should subject to risk. that is the portion that I should subject to maybe the debts if I'm borrowing for a personal thing, so that I don't strain the pool. I am actually just simply straining what I would call my disposable excess, which has also been budgeted for. I get a monthly allocation of something I can spend with the boys, for example. She gets a monthly allocation of what she can spend with the girls or do anything for it. Because you know now, we're in a space whereby if we said we want to try as much as possible and strike a balance in terms of equality, it becomes very hard, because your hair will be 15,000, my haircut will be 300. So there is no equity there, you see. So when some of these things are balanced in such a way that we first of all take cognizance of the fact that this is my free spend, on this one, don't worry. I can even, we can attend the same function and I raise my hand and I pledge there 50K, but it will come from this pool. Yeah, not when I finish saying 50K, I get an elbow that, hey, we did discuss that, you know? No, that's not the case. So it's a matter of that free spend is what you can now subject to risk, accommodate your risk appetites there. Because these are two individuals, one may be risk averse, the other one has a high risk appetite. As Chris said, they get a deal like this, they just want to go. So what happens, it is that pool. If you keep on doing all those things using your pool, then no problem. Never get into an engagement that will risk this other common pool. And that way then people become themselves, they're able to retain their identities, and there is harmony.
Chris, how then do you plan, you know, for a couple, how can they plan their finances? One is in a gig kind of economy, you know, income, so it keeps fluctuating, and this other one is in a stable one. So how do you then plan when you're in that kind of a situation?
I think it's important that, you know, considering different times when income comes in, I think agreeing on your priorities is really important. And how do you agree on your priorities? By budgeting together and agreeing to ensuring that you are budgeting to live well below your means. You know, so that you can also see what are the cycles of income. You know, do I receive income, down in the gig economy, do they receive income every 2 months or every 3 months kind of way? So then now we can plan and say, in our budgeting, we'll have cycles of 3 months. All right? So whenever money comes, we're having a cycle of 3 months. So we're not planning with this month money has come in, so we are planning for all this money to be spent in this month. No, we're saying the next cycle will come in maybe in the next 3 months. So we spread out the income that way. So this way it means that we are very, you know, very prudent, and we're working with caution in case, you know, the next cycle, until the next cycle, rather. So it avoids this overspending because we have money in the account. So we work that way, and the pool approach helps, especially in that scenario. George, how important is trust when it comes to finances, again, as a couple? Because probably there's one who gets a chama somewhere, and that's theirs, you know, so, and all that. So how important is trust, you know, to a couple?
As it's commonly said, trust is earned. Is it? And when it is earned, then it means everybody needs to work towards earning the same, to a point whereby if you have a couple and they have undisclosed income sources, then definitely it means that even the other party would go like, oh, I'm the one who displays 100% of my sources, but for you, you don't. So now we start spoiling the dance, you know, so that going forward, one will be working towards evening out that platform, that, hey, it's a matter of how much do you need to put in the pool, it is this much, have I put? Yes, so don't worry about anything else that follows. So trusts should be sustained in a marriage, and because it is something that once lost, it's very hard to get back.
So how then do you build that trust after a huge mismanagement of fund, Chris? How do you, what are some of the steps as an expert you'd advise me? I've come to you and I'm like, this and that. So how do you build?
I think it starts with going back to the basics. Can we be transparent? Let's put everything on the table. Even if it's embarrassing, even if you feel like, oh no, I messed up, and you have shame. I think the only way to rebuild this thing is by putting everything on the table. Okay. Even if I have borrowed from mobile apps, let's say, how much is it? Show me, and then we can see, okay, so this is the mountain that we have to level, right? So then we work together in terms of this is what we are going to do. And I think it takes from that point we need to then have certain commitments from each person that going forward, this is what we are going to be doing. We're going to have regular check-ins, regular, we call them money dates, monthly money dates. We are not only talking about money whenever we are stressed about what to do something. We're having a money date. So you dress up and you actually go and sit in a good environment where you're relaxed and talk about money. Where are we right now? How are we doing? How has last month been? What can we do better? That talking about money in a less stressful environment enables people to be open, makes people to not be defensive, because money can be very emotional, and I may be telling you that maybe we need to slow down on this this spending on your end. But if I'm talking to you when we're in a crisis, you'd be defensive. You'd say, but you also do this and that. But when we are both relaxed, then you're like, oh, you take it in stride. You're like, okay, fine, we do this. I understand where we are going. We will move like this. And I feel walking that journey together and celebrating also your milestones as you go together is a good way of building trust and also encouraging you to keep doing the same thing.
George, we do a lot of, New Year, especially resolutions. We do vision boards. We have all those things. Is it important to have a financial vision board per se?
Well, if you don't know where you're going, you'll never get lost.
You're just there.
You're just there. So it's important, and such engagement, such practices are things that should actually start as early as when the foundation of the relationship is being set.
Right.
Yeah, because when we are coming from a point whereby we didn't have those conversations early, we are approaching them now when there's a crisis. That defense comes in. And can I borrow an analogy that I've also used in the book that says that even in medicine, we have the preventive side of medicine and we have the curative side of medicine. Whenever there is a crisis, curative never actually comes in for the rescue. No, it's normally the preventive. Look, for example, at COVID scenario. Preventive was get yourself booked into an ICU. We stretched all those facilities. There were no flights out of the country and the like. We all reverted back to preventive. No handshakes, social distance, put on a mask, and all those, wash your hands. That is preventive.
Right.
In finance is taught in school, but money is not.
True.
Because money comes with emotions, and we make decisions based on such emotions and emotional attachments. So if we are to enter a marriage where, first of all, we have not built a very, very good foundation, the challenge we have there is that we will always be in the ICU trying the curative model.
Yet
we could have done what? We could have actually done the preventive. So how do couples get together to a point whereby we know that we are somewhere, we are growing and the like? I say, let us learn to feed from the same source. One of these things is like, let us expose ourselves to similar teachings. Where you've not done so, seek financial therapy. because that will help you know who you are in terms of an individual, because you use a counseling approach to be able to bring you out to self-awareness. And that's very, very important, because your money personalities will come out. And the other thing again is that you'll now be able to start having goals that are aligned as you continue. Yeah, so this couple, let's not look at more of the cure side of things when things have already gone bad, but let us try as much as possible to build on the preventive side first, which is financial literacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I host a lot of couples here on relationships. And when I was looking for guests for this particular day, I was like, I want a couple, because I mean, harmony. But then now, today, I'm like, wow, I think my couples, wherever they are, they're so happy, because I'm sure they're just sitting down with their pen and paper, because this is really beautiful. They're actually now learning, because they come and tell us, okay, this is what we do, this is what we do. Probably most of them, or some of them, don't go even through, you know, financial advice or the literacy bit of it. So this is a great conversation. Gentlemen, I'm excited. Relationship Clinic this morning, and we are with the doctors, the gurus when it comes to matters finances, who are taking us through, you know, how to navigate the financial journey as couples, or even people who are dating. They're not couples, are they? Anyway, people who are married, people who are dating, people in relationships. You are getting free advice today, because when you go to see them in their offices, my friend, it's not cheap. Anyway, so we get back to our conversation, gentlemen. Welcome back to part 2 of this conversation. Thank you so much for helping us, you know, just understand how to navigate this journey. And Chris, to you, probably we talk about matters retirement.
Okay.
What advice do you have for couples who have different timelines when it comes to their retirement? How do they plan for that? Yeah.
Okay, one thing that I always like to say is that certain things are not emergencies. Certain things don't happen without you never thought they would happen. Yeah. So it means you need to have sat and had some good conversation way before retirement, and even asked yourselves, when are you going to retire? When do you plan on retiring? Because I truly believe we shouldn't let anybody else dictate when we retire. Right. It should be us who dictate when we retire. So we should have had that discussion and just say, okay, by when would you like to retire, and how would your lifestyle be like? What are your expectations for each person? And then we start working towards that. Yeah. So it means we are investing with that in mind. That, okay, at this point in time, you would have retired, say maybe at 50, and I still have 10 more years. So we put our investment in such a manner that by the time 50 reaches, we have passive income that will be enough to cater for your active income not coming in, to substitute that income. Okay. That way we are still moving with the same lifestyle we have at that point in time. The other thing, if your investments have not come through, then you need to also then redo your financial plan. How can we downsize? Because now we only have one income coming in, and maybe the pension that the other party is getting is not equivalent to what they were bringing initially. So it means we then have to sit and then rework our financial plan. How are we going to be moving going forward? Because the income that we have now is less. But I truly believe with good planning, it is possible to maintain the lifestyle you have by making the right investments ahead of time. Okay. I mean, as George said, I mean, you need to know where you're going before you can actually start that journey, so that you actually pick the right route, the right tools, the right investments. You know, sometimes we tend to copy investments when ideally your investments should be decided based on what is your goal. So this thing for copying, what is your friend doing? What are you doing? Also include me there. And then you don't know what their goals are. Maybe they're looking for get rich quick, and you're looking for retirement. So you have to match your goals and your investments. So I think early planning.
And I like what you've just said, because that was going to be my next question to George. In terms of copying, you know, in this digital space that we are in, social media, and I'm just seeing, you know, Chris is over there, new ride, George there, a new home. I want to copy that, you know. Then how do you avoid that? How you now as a therapist, the advisor, how can you, I'm coming to you with all those issues, how do you save me from that?
From that.
Social media comparison and all that.
I like what Chris has said around if you plan and plan well, then definitely the outcome should be better than if you did not plan. Because someone said, failing to plan is planning to fail.
Right.
I have been in the retirement industry for the last 18 years. And one of the observations that I have seen is that many people do not plan for retirement unless the system forces them to. Because either you're working now with a family, there's a benefit structure that says there's this contribution that goes to a retirement plan and the like. It may even be around 6% or 7% of your salary. When people arrive at retirement, Sally, there are many people who have nothing else to show for the 93% of their monthly earnings. The only thing they have to show, or they can now mention, is the 7% they have been accumulating over the period they've been earning. So that already tells you that the monthly money dance needed to have been tweaked early so that one looks at all the different spaces of retirement. Retirement has 3 distinct phases. There's the phase we call funding. There's the phase we call investments, and then there's the benefit payout that comes at the end. So if you do not address some of these things at funding level, chances are that the benefit payout phase, which is the last phase, may actually not be adequate enough to address the levels of income you need at retirement. And because many people also look at it like retirement planning is for those who are in formal employment. It's a sad thing, because the percentage of us even here in this country who are formally employed is very small. Social structures are collapsing. The days of I'll give birth to a number of children who will support me in retirement, those ones are gone. Because everybody else is now doing family planning, and family planning has been assumed to be 1 or 2 children. By the time you're calling people for the 3rd baby shower, they ask you, and how will you raise this one? Maybe because our economic and fiscal statuses are almost similar, we end up assuming that family planning is 2 or 3 kids. But ideally, it should be what? It should be as many as your resources can support, is it? And that is the only way we can fulfill Proverbs that says, a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, grandchildren. Provide enough for you, provide enough for your children, and provide enough for the grandchildren. If you can plan that way, then you are good to go. You know. And retirement is also not just a function of age. There's something that people don't see, and it's called ill health retirement, where your health makes you to be incapacitated such that you cannot continue with your normal daily income generating activity. That one has no respect for gender, it does not have respect for age or profession. In planning, we must be able to accommodate that. And maybe I'll throw a shocker to our audience today and tell them, look at how much you have saved. Take 1% of it and ask yourself whether that can sustain you on a monthly basis. If you've saved $1 million, 1% will be 10,000 shillings. So that way then you can always keep on. You know the way even in a car engine, you do that dipstick to check the level of oil. That should be your dipstick. Every time, look at your total savings and ask yourself, 1% of this, how much is it? Because that is ideally what would sustain you on a monthly basis as time goes by. And if you start early, you have an advantage of compound interest. That one is one of the wonders of the world.
Yes, the 8th wonder of the world, actually.
Exactly. So make use of it, and it can only be beneficial to you if you can have have this conversation as early as possible.
Early as possible.
So it's not about you being in a structured income space. It is about, are you receiving any earning?
Okay.
It can be from that gig.
Okay.
It can be from a salaried, maybe engagement. It can be from any other source.
Okay.
But provided there is money coming in, always allocate something for retirement.
All right.
Yeah.
And, listening to George, Chris, then being a financial expert, do you think, because all this also you need guidance, you need an advisor. How important is it to just have those frequent check-ins, with your financial expert or advisor then?
Yeah, so, just to, to add on what George says, like if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Right.
So there's an interesting statistic that was released by Kenya National Bureau of Statistics some time back. And they said 82% of senior citizens, these are people above the age of 60, are still in active employment to meet their basic needs. That's a huge number.
Yeah.
It means that if this person were to quit working, he would not have money to buy food, for his transport, to give his children, to pay school fees, because he has not planned for this moment in time. As I keep saying, sometimes we think that retirement is so far. But as George has just mentioned, it's not dependent on age alone.
Yeah.
We see football stars, careers ending at 24 because of an injury,
right.
A car crash or something like that. So we need to be proactively planning for, what's our future. So we don't take advantage of we don't allow ourselves to keep thinking that we have time, yet we don't. Every moment counts. So frequent, first, having somebody to advise you is key. And as we mentioned earlier, taking the classes together, taking coaching together. Don't leave it to one partner. Do it together. And so that you're both in the right and same mindset about planning for your future.
Yeah.
So by that, then you're able to say, how do we want our retirement to be like? Where will we be retiring? Will we be retiring in Nairobi? Will we be retiring in upcountry or out of the country?
Okay.
That determines how you will invest. You have to have that end in mind. What responsibilities will I be having when I've retired? Because as George said, I could be having a very, a last born who comes in.
The oops one.
And at retirement, that is when they're 12 years old. So you have to plan saying, at retirement, I'll still be required to pay school fees. So I need to have a certain amount of money that's coming in equivalent in terms of passive income, because now it's not active. It should be passive income to enable me to pay these school fees at that point in time. So the coach opens up your eyes towards these realities.
Okay.
Sometimes we just say, but I'll put aside some money in the bank, I should be fine. But, I like giving this example. You may have, maybe at the point of retirement, you have 9 million in the account. And people would think, oh, I'm good, 9 million, I can survive. But then I ask you, so how much do you usually spend roughly in a month? And somebody says, about 100,000. So I'm like, okay, 100,000, okay. So in a year, how much is that? So it's 1.2. So for you to spend 9 million, how many years is that? It's about 8 years. You're like, okay. So you retired at 60, by 68 you're finished. And God is a God of wonders. He adds you 20 years. So what happens?
Another 88. Oh, you're home.
So you have to factor in that your investment should give you passive income. And now make the right investments as you plan.
Wow, beautiful, profound. George, in your book, Dance with My Money. I don't know, you picked the word dancing, and there's a couple there, and I'm glad it's a couple because it's about relationship. They're doing, this is tango dance. Okay, so in this book, then you have a chapter, the dance of your relationship wounds. What is that about? Because you're talking about relationships. What is that chapter about?
Very good. At creation, God said something, that it is not good for man to be alone. Many people see it in the context of relationships only. But what he was actually speaking into human beings is the fact that human beings are social beings. When we are social beings, then it means that we cannot exist alone, whether single or married.
Yeah.
We are social. We are part of a bigger ecosystem of humans.
Yeah.
This ecosystem of humans creates opportunities. Those opportunities may, first of all, when you are young, nurture you towards a particular structure, or bring you up in a particular way, so that at any time in age, you are the sum total of your experiences.
Okay.
So in that chapter, what I look for is taking people through a psychoanalytic journey that explores what your journey has been as an individual,
Yeah.
how you have been relating with those who are around you, from the point where you were dependent to the point where you are independent financially, and then also how you have also been relating with your money.
Okay.
Because I'm using a model that's called the WISER model. So WISER model is to build the tower towards wealth, where W is the wealth, but you have to start at the bottom where you have relationships. These relationships create opportunities for earning. So from R, you build to E. The earnings create an opportunity for savings. So from E, you go to S. The savings then get you to investments, I, and then I gets you to W, which is wealth. So that's the WISER model. So in that chapter, what I'm helping people appreciate is this, that while you are relating with one another, you get opportunities for earning. Okay. These opportunities for earning may be because either you're financially dependent. These opportunities for earning may be because you have a relationship with your employer, employee-employer, which gives you an opportunity to be in their wage bill, so that you can earn a salary for that particular season.
Yeah.
At the same time, these ones also create opportunities for expenses, which is money coming in and money going out. So if your dance in that space is not good, then maybe a coach like Chris would help you to be able to elevate your earnings potential through managing that relationship well. And I'm actually talking into so many things, including how do you approach an appraisal session? You know, do you go there whining, complaining, I am overworked and underpaid? Or are you going there to pitch because now you've been brought to a business mindset that now sees you not as an employee and employer, you actually see your client, your employer as a client who buys your services every month and pays for them at the end of it.
Okay.
So that one, if you're able to come out of that space and know that this is my self-awareness, I now know myself in terms of my money cognitions, what needs to be deconstructed, what new thing do I need to onboard, then that whole relationships dance.
And that's where the relationship dance and won't comes in just because of time probably. Let me get into our socials. I can see someone saying, I'm really enjoying what the gurus are airing on family media. Thank God for the man of God, Georgie. Some financial tips he gave me more than 5 years ago have helped me train my kids on saving, and they are enjoying it. Harun Ngala is the one who's, you know. And talking about kids, Chris, as we wind up, we're going towards the end of the show, then how do you involve your kids in your financial planning as a couple or as a family?
I think nowadays it's important that we involve our kids from a very young age. You know, we were having a discussion off air with George about nowadays people are coming across, you know, earning good amounts of money at a very young age. We've seen influencers on TikTok, Instagram, you know, those people are making over 100,000 in passive income and they're not even 18 years. You know, so the earlier you can start having conversations with your children about money, the better for you. As soon as they are able to understand, you know, walk and go with you to the supermarket, you start explaining them the concept of money. We need money to make transactions. To buy this thing for you, I need to, you know, have some money. And so then as they keep growing, you also bring them up in the culture that, okay, with this money, you can and do this for me, I pay you for it.
Okay.
And then once you have it, then we can create that saving culture of, okay, once I've given you, you never spend everything I give you.
Okay.
You have this amount, put it in this piggy bank or something like that. But also teach them early to be giving to God as well, tithing. You know, it's really important that they get that at a young age, because otherwise they'll become worshippers of money, because you're just driven by love of money.
Yeah.
But they should know that, okay, there's an aspect of God who has given me the ability to produce this wealth. So having these conversations early enough, then also bring them in the conversation that, hey, we are planning as a family to go to Mombasa in December, and we are all going to save towards it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to do this and this and this, you save for that. I will cover the transport and what.
Camel ride.
You save, and we ensure that you have money that we are, enabling you to at least put aside money towards saving it. And that way they start getting the culture of, okay, so this is how you plan for things. And when they actually pay for the things that they had saved for, they really enjoy it.
They do.
And then you start teaching them, okay, debt, these are the consequences of debt. If you're going to get debt, never use it for consumption, because then it's expensive. It eats away at your money, and even it's stealing from your future as well. So as you can see, it's a progressive journey as they develop. So that when they start getting their income, like when they get their income now, they already have the structures in place. Our millennials, we never had that opportunity, most of us. And so you end up your first job, you just have a list of things that you've always wanted to buy. And if the money you're earning cannot afford, you go to debt immediately, because I want all these things at once.
And now with the Okwaja Hazis and all this, because of time, gentlemen, this, my director, really, we have to finish like no. Anyway, I wish we had a longer time, but very quickly, George, probably in 30 seconds, your final words to our audience.
It's what I wanted to say before director spoke as a director. We as millennials, we form a very, I would say, unique class. And this is what I call in this book, the dance of the middle class. We have so many of us who are financially injured, or I would say we carry money wounds with us. And what happens is that we have been blended in a blender together with the children who are also very entitled. So that blend of a financially wounded parent who is now living the life they missed today. I didn't go to a group of schools, I went to school in groups. All that. That blend is a dangerous blend. Guys, we need financial therapy.
George, I have to, I have to unfortunately bring this to an end, but really it's been an amazing conversation. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for just making time, being here in very good time for this beautiful conversation. Asanteni sana, God bless you, and I'm sure I'll have you again. Well, we've come to the end of this beautiful session this morning. Therapy, financial advice, you have it all under one roof at Family Media, on Relationship Clinic. And then, I want to say asante sana. Thank you so much for those who've taken time to tune in, those ones who've sent in their comments, compliments, and all that, questions. We appreciate you. And then there's a very special group of people who always ensure that we are on air, our partners. Asante sana for just supporting this cause, and keep supporting it. If you have anything to just support us with, then do that on paybill number 316, and the account name shall be your telephone number. And if you want to be a partner, send the word partner to 20316 SMS line, and 0786 316 is our WhatsApp line. Send the word partner, and our team will reach out to you. See you again next week on Family Matters, Relationship Clinic, Parenting, and also Finances. We'll see you then. God bless you and keep you. Until then, asante sana na kwaheri.